Hi everyone, welcome back to Visually Hidden Selects. I'm Peter O'Brien, and today I would like to talk to you about Rushmore from 1998, directed by Wes Anderson. This is Wes Anderson's second feature film after 1996's Bottle Rocket, and personally, it's my favorite film of his. This is the only film of his to date that has been selected for preservation in the National Film Registry, so at least future generations will be able to experience Rushmore. This script was co-written by Wes Anderson and Owen Wilson, who had previously worked on Bottle Rocket together, as well as the follow-up film, The Royal Tenenbaums. Rushmore developed out of their own lives in that they both attended private schools. Wes Anderson actually attended the school where they filmed the scenes for Rushmore Academy in this movie. And Owen Wilson, he also attended a private school, and much like the main character in this film, he did get expelled from that private school. The film follows the story of a young, enterprising young man named Max Fisher, who is a little bit more interested in extracurriculars than academics. He is basically the president and or founder of most of the clubs at Rushmore Academy, but his grades don't match that ambition, and ultimately it catches up to him in a bad way. His fate is further determined by the feelings that he develops for a young teacher at Rushmore Academy and his relationship and friendship with a local businessman played by Bill Murray. This film is credited with reinventing and redirecting Bill Murray's career and kind of shifting more towards independent films and more slightly dramatic roles. And this movie really makes great and excellent use of his deadpan delivery, which allows him to kind of still be in the genre of comedy, but he's playing the straight man, which is a little bit different for him. So I feel like this film specifically aided in his transition and opened him up to opportunities such as Lost in Translation. And Jason Schwartzman, this is his first film. He had never acted prior to this, and he beat out a bunch of contenders for the role of Max Fisher. At the time of filming, Jason Schwartzman was a teenager, and in fact, he was a drummer in the band Phantom Planet. But he just crushes in this movie in a way that I don't think any other young actor at the time could. He definitely brings something unique to the character and to the performance. And a lot of it is on the page and comes from the writing of Anderson and Wilson, but whatever supporting character he's working with, they're kind of feeding off of each other in a way that is so natural. It just keeps this movie grounded in a way that other Wes Anderson films, they float away into this realm of surrealism. And the dynamic between Jason Schwartzman and Bill Murray in this film is fantastic. They play off of each other so well, and it's one of the hallmarks of this film. They are not a typical mentor-mentee relationship. They have a mutual respect for one another, and this comes across a number of times throughout the film. Max does respect Mr. Bloom, and Mr. Bloom does respect and hold in high regard Max. They are actually equals in this story. They are legitimate friends. The conflict arises when they both develop feelings for Miss Cross. And that plays out in one of my favorite sequences of the film. They just start going tit for tat with each other to try to one-up and sort of take each other out of the equation as well. It really is just a fantastic scene done through montage. There's no real dialogue, and it's underscored by a fantastic piece of music by The Who. This film has one of the best soundtracks. The score portion of the soundtrack was composed by Mark Mothersbaugh from Devo, who had also worked on Bottle Rocket and subsequently Royal Tenenbaums and The Life Aquatic. The rest of the soundtrack is composed of these British invasion songs featuring the Kinks and the Who and the Rolling Stones, all of these artists from early 1960s British rock and roll. And it just really captures the energy, and the tenderness of the character. One of Wes Anderson's real strengths as a filmmaker and as a visual storyteller is that every character is actually a character. There is some trait or quality or characteristic about them or their costume that makes them unique. All of the characters are instantly identifiable, no matter what setting they're in, what time of day, or what circumstances they happen to be in. For example, Bill Murray's character, Mr. Bloom, always has on a suit with a tie the same color as his shirt. It's just those little things, those little details that really add to the story and bring the characters to life. Another thing that's present in this film, as well as other Wes Anderson films, specifically the ones that were co-written with Owen Wilson, the writing and the characters have this innocence that's infused into them. Even though it's dealing with some pretty adult themes and some adult language, there's almost a cartoon quality about the violence and mischief in this movie. And I feel like Owen Wilson's contribution to these films should not be overlooked. I feel like he really brought something special, especially to the comedic writing and the snappy dialogue that is present in these films. He just has a very unique way and tone about him that comes through in his performances as an actor, but he really wanted to be a writer. He had no intention of becoming an actor. He acted in Bottle Rocket out of necessity, and it just took off for him because of his personality and that ability to improv and come up with good and funny lines. Visually speaking, this film has a very unique look, and part of it is because they shot the entire film using wide-angle lenses, which gives it this kind of storybook quality in that everything is in focus, as if you are looking at these images in a book. This is actually one of the first signs of Wes Anderson's approach as a repertory company. He utilizes a lot of the same character actors throughout a number of his films, and with this film, you really can only compare it to Bottle Rocket insofar as what came before it, but subsequently, of course, Jason Schwartzman became a recurring regular in his films. Bill Murray has been in every single one of them except for Asteroid City. There's a number of familiar faces that recur throughout the films, and this is really kind of the first hint at that quality to Wes Anderson films. This was the first Wes Anderson film that I saw. I had been aware of Bottle Rocket, but it was in such a limited release that I didn't get to see it upon its release. I saw this film in the theater when it came out, and I was about 15 years old at the time, which is the exact age of Max Fisher in this film, so I really kind of drew a strong connection with that character and his ambitious nature. For me, this film, it has a lot of the independent film vibe about it, while making that bridge towards professional filmmaking, in that as Wes Anderson's career developed, so did his ambitions, and his films became a lot more elaborate. This film is really kind of scaled down, but it's no less effective for its lack of elaborate production design or ensemble cast. Because the two principal actors are of different generations, I feel like anybody can watch this movie and enjoy it. Whether you're relating to Bill Murray's character, Mr. Bloom, or Jason Schwartzman's character, there's something in here for everyone. You know, whether it's writing a play, or starting a club, or taking up a new hobby, Max is not a quitter. Max is somebody who can get the job done by any means necessary. And I think that's one thing that I also really gravitated towards in this film and in this character, is that there are no roadblocks. And I think that's another really great attribute of the character, and something that I feel can be inspiring for audiences as well. So that's it for Rushmore. I really hope you enjoy this recommendation, and if you do check it out, please leave us a comment, let us know what you think. We will be discussing this film at length on the Visually Hidden Selects podcast, so please be sure to tune into that. And until next time, see ya.